Okay, so I already recorded this 3 times. I can't stand this app sometimes. The first thing I want to say is that I am not coming from a place of like gloating or celebrating that other people are going to suffer, even if I don't enjoy their moral compass. The reason for that is because reality is a reflection. It's not because I'm like a super compassionate person. I am kind of compassionate, but the reason for that is because reality is reflective. And so when I cheer for first of all, don't resonate with the idea of punishment. I think it's a really gross idea. And it comes, I think, from gross, like we're conditioned by gross things and we're still working through those, but we still have the desire to punish and see people suffer because we think they're bad. And every time I put that out, it comes back to me, or it comes back to someone I care about, or it comes back to a different group of people that I'm like, no, not them, So I don't, 2024 version of me, I've definitely done it, but 2024 version of me is not coming from that perspective. I think not you, I know you, but like whoever's watching this, if you want to do that, I think you should do whatever you want to do with your energy, but I'm just saying that that's not the perspective I'm coming from. I'm relatively neutral in the observation of the collapse of some of these things. Not neutral in that I don't obviously I'm human, so not neutral in that I'm not like super moral, and that's why. I just understand that what I put out comes back, and so I'm not putting that out. Anyway, so the story of the Three Little Pigs is that there's a big bad wolf coming or something. I can barely remember it, but that there were 3 little pigs and one was building a house out of bricks. So he was prepared and like kept trying to get the other pigs to prepare, but they were fucking off or whatever. I can't even remember the story. But the reason I use that analogy here is because and my understanding from a near-death experience I had 20 something years ago, so take this with a grain of salt, is that the video game that we've been playing for the last 400 years, and by that I mean the premise of the reality, the thing that every human's been conditioned by, ended in 2020. I'm putting a lot of breaks in this because when I do one solid one, it deletes it, and it's really frustrating. And we are in a bardo, we are in a in-between space, whatever you want to call it, until 2027, in which time a new video game is going to begin. If I had to give a log line to the last 400 years, it would be sacrifice the individual to build infrastructure. And the log line for the new age, I don't like the new age movement, but the new game would be the rise of the individual. And I've done tons of videos on this, but the former age was everything's outside of you because everything you need is outside of you. So approval of other people, you project your internal experience onto other people. You need their validation, you need authority outside of you, whatever. Extremely exploitable energy we've been in. And what we're moving towards is a decentralized thing where everyone is in their own personal power and nobody holds anybody else's power. And that is a massive leap for us to take. We have so much work to do in that. We have to learn how to go inward. We have to learn how to reflect on our own experience. We have to learn the reflective nature of reality, in which if I'm frustrated with something in you, that means it exists somewhere in me. We have to learn that nobody's coming to save us. And so these things are being reflected back. The more people step into their power, the more you find out the power systems are actually extremely corrupt and they never cared about you and they were actually just here to control you. And, your gurus are not, great. And everywhere you've ever put your power outside of yourself is going to reflect back. It's not, take it back, step into it, like call your power back. So about 2 months into the pandemic, I was pretty aware, seemed really obvious to me, and I thought it was really weird that it wasn't obvious to everyone, that the world ended. We died. Those versions of us died. That was over. And people started getting really like, we need to get back to normal. We need to get back to normal. We need to get back to normal. And they started creating these like zombie timelines. These timelines that look like the world we used to live in, but it's gone. Like the collective consciousness had shifted. We don't care about the same things. So they started to create these like really over the course of the next few years, really kind of empty impressions of the world we used to live in. And then there were some of us who couldn't. Just like, I was touring as a professional stand-up comedian. My career was finally taking off and I could never go back because I was like, this is like, and I'm not superior because of this. None of us who did this are superior. We actually just took an easier route because we have spent, like, if you've spent the last 4 years deconditioning, deprogramming, and not to say it didn't start before the last 4 years, but it's been pretty intense for the last 4 years. If you've spent that time deconditioning, and for most of us, like not even a choice, you're setting yourself up for the new thing. And when it arrives, many people have gone back to zombie timelines, which is not mine to judge who's doing that or whatever. But they are going to have to they're going to have to try to decondition under much more difficult circumstances. And when I say circumstances, I'm Sun and Moon in Pisces. I'm very vibes, energy. Okay. I've never been super present in the physical reality. I don't comprehend it quite the same way. So I'm talking about the energy. I think the things that we're seeing in the physical reality are probably more traumatic in this 7 years than they will necessarily be later. But when you are someone who needs external everything, you need everything to exist outside of you, and you've never learned to sit with your internal experience, the energy that is on its way in the next few years is going to feel very jarring, shocking, and scary for people who have not spent this window of time going inward. So in the Three Little Pigs, you got one of the pigs just like knows the big bad wolf is coming and he's building his house with bricks. So he's just like fine when the wolf comes. And I can't remember what the other pig's deal was, but they just couldn't really be bothered to handle their shit. And that also sounds like a value judgment. I'm really not trying to put value judgments in here, but the people who look like they're having fun right now and are, just living life and seem to be completely unaware of the shifts that are happening will eventually have no choice than to shift with the new energy. But this is really the time to do it if you want it to be like, when that energy hits, you're just already in your power. You already understand the reflective nature of reality because you've been inward, you've been contemplative, you've shifted your beliefs. You're no longer looking for Daddy Gov to say, like, you realize no one's coming to save you. These are horribly painful lessons, by the way, that we're all learning right now, right? Like, there is no power outside of myself. I have to call my power back to myself. That is amazing once you've finished it, but it's a painful lesson to learn. Everyone I've ever projected my power, my values, or my virtues onto is showing up as something different. Like, all these illusions are dropping. These are painful lessons that people are learning right now, but still, this is the easier time to learn them. So as people start to move into their power, like as a huge amounts of people are moving into their power, all from different directions, different types of awakenings, they will divest. They will eventually divest, like for real divest. Not the divest where you like block your ex, but then you're checking their page every day and still giving them a lot of your attention. But like the true divestment of just like, oh, you don't even exist in my reality, actually. I don't need you. I was giving you my power because I thought I was supposed to give you my power. I was asking your permission because I thought I was supposed to be asking your permission, but actually it's just me. And I'm going to unite with other people that are in their power and we're going to build something different. I just don't need, when you realize I don't need the bully at school, on the playground to like me. I can just find friends that I like and go do my own thing. And then, the thing melts. You see the wizard behind the curtain. Anyway, as that happens, the people who have been feeding off of, the people who've been feeding off the energy, but also the people who just needed something outside of themselves will have to learn that lesson in a more harsh environment. I'm out of time here. So I hope I probably didn't explain that. It was a lot. There was a lot of things that weren't that.